It's the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. Now here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, trust me, we would only do it on one condition, and that condition is to build and never ever to destroy. Yes, we are in the service of God and country, and trust me, yes, here we are in the service of God and country. From the newsreel, we keep it real. This is the show with the hardest talk, the hard facts and the truth. My brother, my sister, in all decorum and temperateness. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. Is the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is the voice of God. Now the very first story I want to look at is taken from Ghana Word, and I need you to come along, my youth. Oh Lord, God have mercy. My brother, my sister, it says governments to lease Komenda sugar factory to Indian investors for about 20 years. And I read, now in a bid to revive the collapsed Komenda sugar factory situated in the central region, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Komenda Hammond, has announced government's intention to lease the facility to Indian investors for about 20 years. He noted that the lease agreement would be subject to renewal once the contract is signed. Now, addressing journalists after touring the Komenda Sugar Factory on Wednesday, July 31, 2024, that's yesterday, KT Hammond indicated that the sugar factory was 100% owned by the government of Ghana, with investors only managing the assets and paying government at the end. He pointed out that government, however, does not have shares in the products, that's the sugar produced. And the Minister of Trade and Industry, in an interview with the media, said the whole thing belongs to government of Ghana. The asset is ours. We are leasing it, and there is a board in place. It's a company which has a board. We just put them in charge. We are not going to have shares in their products, but the company is 100% Ghana owned. 100% Ghana owned. 100% Ghana owned. Now, answering the question on the duration of the lease to West Africa Agrotech Limited, the trade minister said, I'm thinking of giving it to them 15 to 20 years with an option of an extension or some sort of renewal after the initial factory running. Wow. Wow. My brother, my sister, former President Mahama went all the way to India and begged for a loan of 35 million American dollars. It was intended to be used to put up a sugar factory, revive some of the ideas of Kwame Nkrumah. We used to have a sugar factory, and it was right there at Komenda. Pan-Africanism will never forgive us what we do to our heroes and heroines who meant so good for the nation and for us. The sugar factory was collapsed. They intentionally went out and collapsed all the factories Kwame Nkrumah built. They tried to clean out all the heritage and legacies of Kwame Nkrumah right after he was overthrown in 1966. Nkrumah built factories that shocked the West. They wondered where he got the money from. They wondered what enthusiasm he had in him and how much more he could do. They orchestrated his removal in a coup d'etat after begging him to come over, literally, for some peace talks right there in Hanoi. My brother, my sister, at the end of the day, he was overthrown, and Ghana slumped into its darkest days from that time in February 1966. When Mahama came into power, riding on the banner of a political party that claims it is Nkrumahist-minded, the NDC, he decided to show this by trying to revive the Komenda sugar factory. They didn't have the money, so they went all the way to India in election year and got 35 million American dollars to come and establish that factory. Am I correct? 35 million. Now the 35 million factory was commissioned under former President John Dramani Mahama, and it has never worked since its inception in May 2016. My brother, my sister, 2016 is 8 years now. Now that they are leaving power, they want to sell it out. Now I ask this same question, and I'm going to ask again. At the time that the sugar factory was being thought of, how did they think about getting raw materials for it? Mahama said this time and again that they had a way of doing it. Now the people in the area grow sugar cane naturally. Unfortunately, there is a competition for the sugar cane that they grow in that area of Komenda and beyond. They prefer to use it for appetition. Now when you are driving along those areas, central region, all the way down to Dabuase, all the way down, you will realize that there are so many sugarcane plantations. But they prefer to use their sugarcane, my brother, my sister, for appetition. So the sugar factory was certainly going to face a certain kind of competition should we be depending on local production of sugarcane. I don't know how many people understand this. At the end of the day, our fears came into being. Mahama most probably did it for votes at the time, my brother, my sister. It was election year, like what Bawumia is doing right now. I don't know why politicians have the penchant for this kind of skullduggery. Election year, that is when they grow all their muscles. They can steal, sleep, lie all the years in power. Election year, they become angels all of a sudden. Today, Bawumia is going round commissioning things after building toilets and so on and so forth, ordering the people to give him the steer. Me pese me chikano, me chikano, mama mi steer no. Today he's going round commissioning things, and I hear he's even giving equipment out to people to work. What happened? All of a sudden they have muscles. All of a sudden they become angels. My brother, my sister, it is most appalling and nauseating. Mahama did it. We kicked him out. I was one of the first people to come out and say, hey, did you think well about the sugar factory? Are you doing it for votes? Or you are doing it because you want to continue with the Nkrumahist ideology? What are your plans to keep the factory running? Mahama was kicked out of power, and so was the Komenda factory. It became the home of people who were so much in a hurry to have quickies. The young men and women in the area used it as their temporary hotel. They went in there for quickies. My brother, my sister, lizards, cockroaches, snakes, grasshoppers, and even grass cutters found a beautiful hotel right there inside Komenda. It was so appalling to see 35 million American dollars in 2016, 8 years back, go down the drain like that. 35 million American dollars 8 years ago is not 35 million American dollars today. We wasted that money on political expediency and correctedness. What I said then is still very much intact. Well, Mahama granted an interview after he was out of power, and he said he had made adequate plans to fill the factory and make sure that the factory was running. May I ask this? So when you have plans for a certain project and you are out of power, do you share the plans with the government that has come in? Do we have continuation? No, the common sense is not there. In African politics, when a man comes to build something and he doesn't finish it, his predecessor never completes it, because they believe, my brother, my sister, that when they do, that person is going to take the credit for the work done. My brother, my sister, Muhammad said it at the time, and it's still so clear in our minds. He said he had made adequate plans for raw materials for the Komenda sugar factory to run properly oiled on its hinges. But today, it's a shame and a disgrace. Please, can we start charging people for intentionally hemorrhaging the coffers of this nation, causing financial loss? That's the common language everybody understands. But I call it hemorrhaging the national coffers. It's free flow of blood. Blood is the lifeline of every living thing. If you don't have blood, you will die instantly. Blood is life. My brother, my sister, I am sad to say that another beautiful project, ill-planned, is going down the drain. Did Muhammad share his plans to have raw materials? Did the government in place follow it up? These are the questions I'm asking. My brother, if a government is leaving office, it behoves the same government to give out handing over notes. This is just common sense. It's so practical with every administration. When today I am leaving office as the host of the Urban Blend, whoever is taking over from me, I will have to give handing over notes. My brother, the microphone is not very stable. So when you come in, you make sure that you fix the microphone. Let it be a little stable before you start, or else you will push it up and down, and everybody will see you on social media moving the microphone up and down. When you come in, make sure that you don't walk too much to the far right. There are some bricks down there that are broken. They might make noise under your feet, and the microphone would pick that. That's if you walk in at a time that the microphones are on. This is what is called handing over notes. Governments in Africa do not have the common sense to do that. And even if they do, arrogance from incumbents, my brother, my sister, will never allow them to pursue a continuation of this. Remember, I granted an interview some time ago, and I made it clear. If I was president of this nation, I will advocate for, amongst others, one thing that is very important. You know what that thing is? The Minister of Uncompleted National Projects. Hallelujah. A Minister for Uncompleted National Projects. There must be a minister whose duty it is to look at all national projects from the days of Kwame Nkrumah up till now, even beyond Kwame Nkrumah. Sir Charles McCarthy, you got to sit down and look at all those projects. Go to the Volta region. There are so many projects that are rotting up. Hospitals are rotting up all over Ghana. Yet people are dying night and day for lack of hospitals. Who created us? I'm sure we were created on the day Satan himself was created. We are not ready to share ideas. We are too egotistical, so selfish. And this is so unforgiving. The next generation will kick us like footballs under their feet. Why? Nobody is ready for continuity. Everybody is ready for exclusivity. And this exclusivity takes us into nothingness. We continue to make our nation hemorrhage. Look at the sugar factory. $35 million American dollars has gone down the drain. Now they are bringing Indians. The same Indians who gave us this loan. You know what they are saying? All the way from India maybe from New Delhi or Bombay, they are coming here. Say, Chari mehi nahi kumde sharavanta ha, nahi kumde. Say, these people are idiots. These people have no common sense. That's what they are saying. How can you come to us for a loan, 35 million American dollars? You push that into a project. This was the plan, to have the project run on its 4 legs. At the end of the day, the beast of a project that was supposed to run on 4 legs does not even have legs. It was described as a project that was built starting from the roof, as it was told to us by Nana Akufo-Addo. My brother, my sister, where is the common sense? Mama, you said you were going to build this, and you built it. You said you had plans for this. Is it shameful for the Minister of Trade, who has described all youths in Ghana as coconut-headed? He's not a smart politician. K.T. Hammond, he's not. If the youth form the majority, and you call them coconut heads, and you never ever apologize, no youth should be voting for your party. But in this country, we are not angry and serious enough. The other day, I called for Sarkodie's ban. Many were those who said, oh, this guy is so bitter. But that's common sense. Until we have that common sense of responsibility, where you know that you cannot open your mouth just anyhow, my brother, and partake in some kinds of exercises, my brother, my sister, this country will be close to anarchy. It will be so anarchical. I want to end it. But my brother, Trade Minister could have approached Mahama over some coffee or over some tea. If you like it heavy, over some bankun or fufu or tuonzafi. I say, Mahama, you said you had plans for this. Can you give me a white paper on what kind of plan you had for raw materials to run this? But no, arrogance will not let it happen. Ask Mahama for the white paper. Let him not give the white paper. Let Ghanaians rise and say, hey, take Mahama, pull him out, call him out, and make sure that he pays for the 35 million with interest that he ruined Ghana with. Am I making sense? But no. Again, on the part of Mahama, I will say, please, if you have the white paper, it is time to make it public. Tell us how you intended to get raw materials. Put that out. How you intended to run this. I'm sure there's a white paper. Whoever mooted that idea must be thinking about how raw materials could be had. Drop that white paper. Let us all scrutinize it. Even if you were wrong at the time, at least you thought about how you could deal with raw materials. Am I making sense? But to give it out to Indians, they don't know whether it's for 15 years or for 20 years. I believe we are moving closer and closer to where we began, slavery. I'm so ashamed of these people called politicians. I'll leave it here. Another thing I would like to look at, and this is so heavy on my heart. I told my producer today that I wouldn't want to tackle this. But I said, Black Rasta, there's always somebody who's chosen to bite the bullet. You are the one at this point. Who else is going to bite it? So I've decided to bite the bullet. This one is taken from Ghana Web, and it says, man whose pregnant wife died from medical negligence wins case against Rich Hospital. Health Ministry included. I read. An Accra High Court has awarded Muhammad Mustafa, the husband of a pregnant woman, Ekuya Nyakom Osaibonsu, who died after a cesarean section at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital in November 2019. 3 million Ghana cedis in damages. Now, this follows a lawsuit filed by Mustafa in 2020, accusing the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and the Ministry of Health and the Attorney General of negligence that led to the death of his wife after a cesarean section at the facility, as reported by the Law Platform Online. Now, what's the background to this story? Listen. Now, the pregnant woman, Opoku-Agyemang Osei Bonsu, had been receiving antenatal care from the Ridge Hospital since 2019. The same hospital, antenatal care. In November, a Doppler scan at the hospital revealed that she had severe intrauterine growth restriction, that's IGUR, an abnormal umbilical artery, Doppler, a condition which pointed to placental insufficiency. Please pretend that you understand what I've said. Let's continue. Based on these findings, the report said an emergency cesarean operation was scheduled in December 2019 to save the lives of mother and baby. However, after the operation, Opoku developed thromboembolism. That is the word. Let's pretend we understand these terms, which led to her death and that of the baby. Claims of negligence. Now, in 2020, roughly a year after the death of his wife, Mustafa initiated legal action against the hospital, the Ministry of Health, and the Attorney General at the Accra High Court. He claimed damages arising from the death of his wife to the tune of 5 million Ghana cedis. The general jurisdiction 7 of the High Court in the case of Muhammad Mustafa, Attorney General, Ministry of Health, judgment delivered. Judgment on July 31, 2024, he reported. The report said, just yesterday, the lawyers argued that the Ridge Hospital staff and management were negligent in their duties. They said the hospital standard care includes both a pre-operating and post-operative standard care, which includes prophylactic therapy, which the hospital's management failed to adhere to prevent conditions like thromboembolism. About 7 years ago, my mother fell ill. I was in the United States of America doing my rounds at the universities, and they took her to the hospital. She was alive and good. She felt something like malaria. She went to the hospital, at the Tamale Hospital, Tamale Modern Hospital. My brother, my sister, she got there and she never came back. Something that was supposed to be malaria, at the end of the day, she never came back. And I've never forgiven myself and forgiven the health unprofessionals who dealt with her. But when you come from an area where religion is rife, they say, Fama Nyame, give it to God. Allah knows best. He gave and he took away. Oh my God. You know what happened? When she got there, I was told that the doctors immediately said, oh, drips. They punctured her hand and they were pouring things into her body. What happened next? You want to know? When she started reacting, then one of the doctors said, oh, is your mother diabetic? And the children, my siblings who were there, said, we don't know. We don't know. Long and short of it all, they were pouring sugar solution, dextrose, whatever they called it, into her. A woman who was beginning to have diabetes or something like that. They pumped sugar inside her before they realized that That sugar shouldn't have gotten into the body. She died. The young woman died at 64. Can you believe this? She died. And when she passed on, my brother, my sister, when she was even struggling to die, my siblings started calling the doctor. Doctor, doctor, doctor. He said, stop shouting. There are other patients here. Stop shouting. Why? And he walked as if he was on the aisle of his wedding day, as slow as a tortoise on a heat. My brother, before he arrived, the woman was gone. My brother, I have never forgiven those doctors at the Tamale Modern Hospital there. How many more people have died because of the carelessness of these guys? I went to Guyana the other day, and they were going to take me to an island called Aurora to perform for the workers there. It's a mine. So they flew me in this helicopter. But before they did, they said, malaria is not allowed on that island. For that matter, anybody going there must be checked for malaria. If you have it, you don't go there. They will treat you before you go there. So, I don't like needles inside me. I hate that. But I made myself available. They punctured me, pulled out some blood. And then, before they did it, the nurse, in fact, the doctor who was a woman, asked me, Black Rasta, have you had malaria before? I laughed. And I've told this story over and over. I said, I've had malaria probably more than 1,000,000 times. She almost collapsed. What? I said, yes. Oh, in Ghana, malaria is like drinking water. I've had it, sir. I've lost count. Ask any Ghanaian if they have had malaria before and how many times. They will never be able to count. Nigeria is even worse. My brother, the woman now asks me, what kind of malaria have you been having? I was shocked. With all the education, I had to make my ignorance bare. I don't know. I only know malaria is just one. I said, no. Depending on what kind of mosquito bit you, you can get a different kind of malaria. I was shocked. Now I have to be taken to school. My brother, we live in a country where you go to the hospital. They don't even ask you what sickness is worrying you. If you are lucky, they will open one eye, look at it, and then start writing things. Doctors do not tell you what they are giving you. They treat us like we are in a veterinary. Ghanaian hospitals, most of them are like veterinary. You know what veterinary is? Where animals are treated. It's a shame. Nurses beat up pregnant women, all because they are screaming in labor. Some of them tell them, when you were taking your doggy style, were you screaming? They treat human beings like animals. That is terrible. When you travel to America and see how animals are treated in these veterinaries, you'll be shocked. Sometimes I wished I was an animal in America. And I'm saying this tongue in cheek. Hey, the American veterinarian, before he injects a dog or a cow or a rat or even a cat, you know what he says? Oh, I'm sorry. What's the name of the dog? Say, oh, he's called Rocky. Oh, Rocky, I'm sorry. You're gonna be okay. And this one is just going to be like a mosquito bite. It's not going to be painful. Oh, Rocky. Then she'll be passing their hand on the head of this dog, pampering the dog, going left and right, up and down on the dog's hair or fur. Then peep, they inject the dog. They say, you're going to be all right. Sometimes as they are injecting the dog, they're even crying. Oh, he's going to feel pain. Oh, he's feeling pain. Oh, he's not here in Ghana. Yeah, what pan you cry, you boo in you. As they are injecting you, they are slapping you. Why? What the heck is wrong with us as a people? We don't even love each other. I went to a hospital in America. They were asking me if I reacted to this, if I reacted to that, and I reacted to this. I was stupefied. You want to hear that word again? Stupefied, hypnotized, cacophonized, totally flummoxed. They were telling me, what, I want to prescribe this for you, but do you react to this? This is what it will do for you. When you take this, by this time you're going to fall asleep, so don't drive anything that is movable, blah, 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 boom, 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 boom. Not here in Ghana. My child fell sick at the secondary school. I don't want to mention the name. They called me from the school. Giddy, 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 giddy. Your son is sick. When are you coming to take him? I said, well, what? I was even lucky they called. He obviously had gone to the school clinic, and the nurse just looked at him. She was even sleeping, and he tapped her respectfully. She was angry that she was woken up. She was having a beautiful dream. Her prophet had prophesied to her that she would have a dream, and truly she was having that dream. She didn't complete the dream, and my son went in to wake her up. How dare you wake me up in the middle of my dream? Are you silly? From one boy, you. Hey, what's wrong with you? I'm not able to eat, and I feel packed plenty paracetamol and gave to him to go and swallow. He took the paracetamol. The following day, it got worse. Hey, a teacher called me from the school and said, if you don't come and take your son, paracetamol will kill him. When I drove into the school that night, his students had carried him like a sack of maize. Whilst he was, sack of maize, I had to carry him. Oh, yelpy. We treat each other like animals. Reach hospital, shame on you. Shame, shame, shame to the umpteenth time. The other hospital, they operated a certain woman and left a whole scissors in her stomach. The other time, Ridge Hospital, the other 37 military hospital here. Some unprofessional people did things, and it was all over in the news. I know mistakes happen. They are pardonable if they are genuine mistakes, but negligence is negligence. Look at what happened to that Chimota school boy. Senior housemaster said, oh, leave him, he'll be okay. And he died. And he went to court so arrogantly defending his nauseating behavior. Look, I think that with all respect, some of our hospitals here in Ghana are veterinaries. They are not hospitals. Well, my brother, my sister, there's something else I need to look at quickly. And it says, Women's Development Bank, Professor Opoku-Agyemang doubles down on interest-free loans for women. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang has underlined the National Democratic Congress's commitment to establishing a Women's Development Bank, WDB, to bolster the efforts of women entrepreneurs and small and medium-scale enterprises led by women. She spoke during the launch of the NDC's campaign in Tamale on Saturday, July 27, 2024. We will set up a Women's Development Bank. The former education minister said, women are the ones who take care of the home and the ones who ensure everyone is at peace. And when there is peace at home, there is peace in the community. And there's peace in the country. Listen, you all remember, when you educate a man, you educate an individual. And when you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation, right? This thing by Nana Opoku-Agyemang is going to be quoted like that. She's made a lot of sense. Sometimes I sympathize with women. The other day, I had a new baby at home. I will come from work, go and sleep. Baby will be, ma, ma. My empress will quickly pick up this baby, carry this baby out so that the crying of the baby will not wake me up. breastfeed the baby. Sometimes late in the night, when I wake up to pray to my God, I will see her asleep with the baby in her hands. At the same time, she is schooling. Sometimes she's on this Zoom, doing this Zoom. Baby is in the hands suckling, and food has to be made for the children. Hallelujah. Women are a gem in this nation. Unfortunately, we have traditions that ensure that women are debased every now and then, beaten up, kicked up, divorced anyhow, slandered, any kind of thing. And even they relegate them to witch camps that are supposed to be rebranded by a certain minister of state. Oh, such terrible behavior. When I see women, trust me, I see God. A lot of women, my brother, my sister, let me not go too deep into it. I get so emotional when you see me defend women. Somebody has misbehaved against a certain woman, and you see Black Rasta so vehemently on the case of these people. It's all because of what I see, what my mother went through, what my sisters go through, what your sisters go through, what your mothers go through. It doesn't mean men are not important, but the risk that women take for us to have peace, as Nana said, cannot be overemphasized. This bank is long overdue. And with this bank, women are supposed to go in there and get loans that are interest-free. I hope it's not yet another political talk. I leave it here. My producer says I should do 2 minutes and then leave. And I'm going to do these 2 minutes. I promise you it's going to be 2 minutes. Now Manasseh Awini Azure has written a book. And in that book, he's quoted something that Gabi Asari said. And I want to read it out to you. As posted by Manasseh right on his X handle. I will be a hypocrite and a liar to say that I am satisfied with the fight against corruption. And I don't think the president is. And this is contained on page 52 of The President Ghana Never Got. And this is Gabi Asari Ochridakun talking. What prevented the president from fighting corruption the way he vehemently told us he was going to do? Why is Gabi disappointed? Why is the president himself disappointed in the fight against corruption? People who are fighting corruption, the president himself kicks out of office. Daniel Domlevo is in oblivion as we talk right now. My brother, people who truly are intending to fight corruption, this president kicks them out. As I said, it's going to be 2 minutes, and I won't go beyond 2 minutes. I appreciate you. It's been the Blog Post.